Hello, guys. Hello, this is the Gypsy again. This is my video of shame of picking this guy Ugas to beat Errol Spence. It's a bad pick, I gotta admit. Beating him, but obviously not getting the gift. Definitely not gonna get the decision against Spence. But obviously, Spence stopped him. That was my pick. I was saying that Ugas is gonna win by most people's eyes, but he's gonna lose on the decision. This guy didn't even make it to the decision because my problem was I didn't look in the fact that this guy wasn't durable enough. I For some reason I assumed that he was durable, but he wasn't, and that's why he didn't throw enough punches. At the third round, when he got hurt just a little bit, he started shelling up majority of the fucking fight. And when he hurt him in the sixth, he obviously the ref kind of saved the day for Spence, but I don't think it saved the day. Spence was strong enough to continue on, even if let's say he did get dropped or whatever, he would have continued on and given a beating. That wouldn't change anything because this guy, his volume punches, he lacks volume. And when he got hurt just a teensy bit, he refused to throw punches. He refused to continue to throw punches. Maybe he was afraid of getting hurt and getting dropped. I don't know. But that didn't seem like that, bro. He kept on getting punished and he still kept on standing, and he didn't he didn't fall on his ass or whatever. I don't know what it was. He just shelled up after getting hurt. That's just the fact that he wasn't mentally strong enough or durable, probably physically enough to even fight Errol Spence. But skill-wise, he had what it... That's the thing. I looked at the skills only. I did not look at the fact that this guy wasn't durable enough. You know what I mean? You need, as an elite fighter, you need to be super durable. You know what I mean? The top tiers, motherfuckers need to be super durable. If they're not durable enough, this is what happens. He was the first, what was it like? He won the first two rounds in my eyes, and then after that, when he got hurt in the third, he started to shell up, and then he won the sixth, and it was three rounds to three. I gave Spence three, and he had three, so because he had the sixth and the first and the second in my eyes, Ugas. But after that, that's it. He just got his ass fucking handed to him. Errol was throwing punches. And that's the thing though. This dude had power. He had the ability to hurt Errol Spence, but every time he got hit, whether on the arms or anything, he just shelled up. It's because he just ain't durable. He has the power. He had the speed. He had the skill. He just wasn't mentally strong enough and physically, I guess, durable enough. But I wouldn't say that, man. I can't say physically durable because he is physically durable. He stood there and took punishment unnecessarily. I don't know why. And another thing about this fight, another thing about this fight is that this dude had a horrible game plan. Even, I mean, the commentators were talking about it too. He wanted to stand toe to toe, and that, if I was him, that was not gonna be my game plan fighting Errol Spence. If I was him, that's not what I was gonna do. That's not what he did against Shawn Porter. That's not what he did against. He pushed Shawn Porter back, but he kept him on a range. Kept using his jab. In this fight, his jab was like almost non-existent. He completely forgot about the jab, and he was focused on getting close and throwing body shots every now and then, and trying to counter him from close range, which was like the wrong fucking game plan. He came up with the wrong game plan. He might have still lost, even if he had fought the way I'm talking about, but it wouldn't have been this bad. He wouldn't have lost in the 10th round. He would have been dropped. I mean, stopped in the 10th round. He would have, by doctor stoppage, he would have went all the way 12 and possibly lost like 7-5, close fight, against Errol Spence. But this dude, man, yeah, I think I overrated him too much, because the fact that I should have looked at more fights from him before going off a whim and thinking that this fool had a shot against Errol Spence, because he clearly didn't, as we can see from the fight. I saw it maybe like an hour ago, watching it. Yeah, it was a good. I mean, it was a good fight. It wasn't a great fight. It was a good fight. I wouldn't call it great. A great fight is when there's action coming back and forth. A good fight is, let's just say, Fury versus Wilder, the third one. That was a great fight. Even the first one was a great fight, to be honest. Great fight is Baranchyk versus Zepeda. That's a great fight. You know what I mean? This was not a great fight. This was more like a one-sided beatdown more than anything else. I don't consider one-sided beatdowns great fights, honestly. I don't think anybody does who's a truly fight fan, a boxing fan. It doesn't matter. It's not a great fight. Yeah, and this is what happens, man, when he didn't throw when he was supposed to throw, and he was like wary. There was so many cases where, he could have just thrown a simple jab and then protected himself right afterwards, but he didn't even throw that. Dude, I don't know. And some people would say, he went there to lose the fight. I don't know, man. I don't think he went there to lose the fight. No, it's not what happened in this fight. He did not go there to lose. He just went there with a wrong game plan, and the fact that he's mentally not strong enough to continue to throw punches, and when he's getting slightly hurt, not massively hurt, is the main reason why. And the fact that he doesn't throw a lot of punches, which I should have seen from his past fights. He doesn't throw much, unlike Errol, who throws a lot. Even if he misses, he keeps throwing. And that 6th round where he kind of hurt Errol Spence. He threw his mouth. He hit him so hard that his mouthpiece came off from a close range. I think it was like an uppercut. I don't know, was it right hand or left hand? I can't recall. I don't know what the fuck Errol was thinking about trying to grab his mouthpiece. I think he was hurt. I think he was looking for the referee to save him, because before that he kind of was hurt before the mouthpiece came off, and he was trying to look for a way out, I guess, some way. I don't know, but I don't think that would have made a difference. Even if he got dropped, he would have got back up. Errol's durable enough to continue the same thing that we just saw and finish him in the 10th. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest. I think that's the main reason why he lost this fight. It's the main. Well, he was gonna lose either way. He wasn't gonna stop Errol. I was thinking that he was gonna get to the 12th and that's it, and they're gonna give it to Errol no matter what. But yeah, he was it. He just wasn't not durable enough. And I have to lean towards mentally not durable enough. Maybe not physically. I would say mentally not durable enough, because he is the bigger man. He was the bigger and the stronger dude between the two. He just wasn't mentally durable enough. When he was getting hit, that's why he wasn't throwing a lot. And that's probably why he doesn't throw a lot in his other fights. That's like a big thing, man. Punch output matters so much. And when this guy doesn't throw so much and he's waiting for that 1 good, 2 good, 3 good, 4 shots, you know what I mean? Not even 4. With him, it's like 1 or 2, possibly 3 good shots. It's just not cutting. It's not cutting for someone like Errol Spence. Now, when it comes down to um, Errol Spence and what this fight means when he, let's say, if he fights Terence Crawford, Terence has been dropped before, even though they don't want to, they didn't count it or whatever. He's been dropped before. Errol's never been dropped. At least maybe this fight he would have been dropped if the ropes hadn't saved his ass. I don't know. He did pretty good in this fight, Errol Spence, based on close range. From far range, not so well. And Terence Crawford is better in far range than Ugas is. He's also good at close range, but he's not as good as Errol. He's not as good as Errol in close range. But that's the thing. If the fight between Terence Crawford and Errol takes place, I think Terence Crawford can decide to make it a close range fight to a far range fight. You know, he can switch it up. It'd be a very interesting fight. Depends on what kind of game plan Terence Crawford has. He can beat Errol. Depends on what kind of game plan he has. If he stands close range with Errol, I think it will not benefit him. I think Errol, even though Terence Crawford does hit harder than both these guys, Ugas definitely hits harder than fucking Errol Spence does. It's just he did not have the durability. Terence Crawford does hit harder than Ugas and Spence, which changes the outcome possibility of the fight between Errol and Terence Crawford, from what I'm thinking. So, I still, looking at it, thinking about it right now, is more like it. I would still lean towards it's tough. It's tough. I want to say I would lean towards Terence Crawford, but it's tough because of the fact that even Terence Crawford's punch output is not that great. But he can back up and fight on his back foot and hit a lot harder than fucking someone like Ugas would, that's for sure. And that could be detrimental for Errol Spence. If he had continued the same thing that he was doing in the first, second round, that Ugas, and he didn't care about getting hit, he didn't take too much of getting slightly hurt, he would have made this a very close fight, possibly even win by one round. But even though he wouldn't get the decision either way, he wouldn't get the nod, but he didn't do that. But Terence Crawford is obviously more durable than Ugas, and he hits harder than Ugas, and when he throws punches, especially when he's the best finisher. When he gets someone hurt, he gets them out of there better than anyone else I in the boxing that I know of at this point. That's what happened to Sean Porter. Sean Porter couldn't have continued. His father knew that, and he knew that he was going to get dropped over and over again. That's why he stopped the fight. He was probably going to get really, really badly hurt. So that's why Sean Porter's dad stopped the fight between Terence Crawford. Sean Porter's dad stopped the fight between Terence Crawford. But so it's tough, man. After this fight, it seems like it's a 50-50 between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. It's a 50-50. It's legitimately a 50-50 fight. After seeing this, I gotta say it's 50-50, man. It's depends on what kind of game plan Terence Crawford comes up with, and depends on what kind of game plan Errol Spence comes up with. It would behoove Errol Errol Spence to make it a close range fight like he did against Ugas. But if he does not do that, he would end up getting punished. Terence Crawford could take advantage of that. And another thing about Terence Crawford, he's a switch. Unlike Ugas, who's having a hard time figuring out his steps and everything against a southpaw for Errol Spence, Terence Crawford is not going to have that issue against Errol Spence. He's not going to have that problem. Should be a very interesting fight. I'll be very excited to watch that fight. Very, very excited. As I wasn't that excited before, but now I am. I'm extremely excited to watch the fight between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. And I don't know, man. I'm starting to lean towards Errol a little bit more because of the durability factor, that he's more durable because he hasn't been dropped. He's never been dropped. Unlike Terence Crawford. But the power of Terence Crawford can make a difference in the fight. I think the power of Terence Crawford can make a difference in the fight, and the fact that he is a better back foot fighter than someone like Ugas, who's really, when you look at it, Ugas is really not a back foot fighter. He keeps pushing forward, and that's why I don't think he would have been able to do the same thing that Terence Crawford. Like, I don't know how he did the same. He kept Sean Porter away. And that's how he beat Sean Porter in most people's eyes. I don't know if, in my eyes, I wouldn't say most people, in my eyes, he beat Sean Porter clearly. But he couldn't do that against Errol because Errol just kept pushing forward, getting close, and he shelled up instead of pushing him back. Every time he pushed him back, he pushed him and he didn't follow it up with anything. You know, he just stood there and shelled up. Bad idea. I don't know. It's toughy. I want to say Errol Spence. Yeah, I'm probably gonna change my mind and say I'm gonna say Errol Spence probably is gonna win this fight between Terence Crawford. But it's a toughie, man. It's a real tough one because Terence Crawford, when he gets hurt, he gets even more dangerous. Kind of like Tyson Fury in a way. He gets even more like, I don't know, confidence and shit. I don't know what it is. Some of these great fighters are like this. When you think about it, it's like exactly what happened with that guy that he was fighting against, that fucking War Machine. I forgot his fucking name. Starts with a K, I think, his last name. That guy, he dropped him, and then after he dropped him, he just was a different fucking animal. He brought the fight to him, and he stopped that guy. So, it's a difficult one. It's a very difficult one. Who would you pick against these two? It's a 50-50. It's really, this is one of those fights that I can go ahead and say it's legitimately a 50-50 fight between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. Or Errol Spence against Terence Crawford, whichever you want to look at it. But you see it, close range. Errol throws a lot more volume, bro. When you look at it, Errol throws a lot more volume. He does. Errol throws a lot more volume than Terence Crawford does, man. Yeah. You know, in all honesty, my mind has been swayed again. I'm gonna go with Errol Spence this time, cause The volume of punches, man. Terrence Crawford does not throw volume of punches. When Sean Porter was doing whatever he was doing against him, he did not throw a lot of volume after. And he did once he started. He was trying to catch him in a certain, like just like Ugas. He was trying to catch him in specific angles and shit instead of throwing a lot of volume. But is that going to be enough to decimate someone like Errol Spence? I don't know, man. Errol's pretty tough, man. I think he'll ride that out. Uh, or not. Maybe he gets hurt. Maybe he gets stopped because of the power, bro. This is a 50-50 fight. This is a 50-50 fight. No matter which way you look at it, man. It's a 50-50 fight. You know, it can go either way when you look at it. Because Terrence Crawford, when he gets someone hurt, he can stop them really quickly. And with someone like Ugas, when he gets someone hurt, it's not like that. I've seen Ugas have a few other fighters hurt, and he doesn't go for the kill like Terrence Crawford does. And he also does not hit as hard as Terrence Crawford. So it's like, what the fuck? Like, who you would choose between these two? And it's tough, man. It's tough. But the fact that Terrence can fight both fucking stances and do it pretty fucking well, I may add. You know what? Since it's a 50-50 fight, since I picked Terrence Crawford the first time around, and I feel like he is the guy to beat fucking Errol Spence, and if the fight ain't going his way, he can always change it up and fight on the back foot, and he's very fucking effective on the back foot, unlike this guy, who I believe does not know how to fight off the back foot. He knows how to counter. He's more of a front foot fighter. I'm still going to pick Terrence Crawford. And I do believe this fight will end up in a knockout between these two. Yeah, I still do believe that between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, there's going to be a knockout. Someone's going to give away. I'm going to go with Terrence Crawford again. And I'm going to say Terrence Crawford does stop him. And if he stops him, he's going to stop him in the later rounds. If Errol does stop him, if it's the other way around, since this is a 50-50, this is a 50-50 toss-up fight. I don't know what's going to happen in this fight between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. I'm going to pick Terrence because of the fact that he has more skill. And he can change up a lot better than someone like Errol can. I'm not saying Errol can't change up. Errol does change up too, but he has... I think his answer for changing up is throw more punches in different angles, as long as something lands. And I'm just gonna go with Terrence Crawford on this because of the fact that when he changes it up, it's more of a precision based shit than just throw a lot of punches and hope something lands. You know what I mean? Even though that could also help out Errol Spence, but it might not. If this guy was able to hurt him and keep him honest, I think Crawford does a lot more damage with his punches than this dude. I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to leave with Terrence Crawford again. Like I had in my other picks, I'm going to go with Terrence Crawford. And that's all I got to say, man. I was wrong on this pick, but fuck it. You can't always be right. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be right with Devin Haney versus fucking Kambosos. Kambosos going to fucking destroy that kid. And Fury's going to fuck up, what's his name? Dylan White. And I think Bivol is going to beat Canelo. He's not going to stop him, but I think he's going to beat him. Hopefully he stops him. That's not going to happen. But if he does stop, I pick Bivol over Canelo. I pick Bivol over Canelo. I pick Fury over White, as the majority of people probably do. By knockout. Bivol by decision on Canelo. And Kambosos by decision against Haney with a clear victory. And What other fights are there? Yeah, the Golovkin fight with Murata. I watched it afterwards. Uh, the drugs saved that motherfucker, Triple G. His old age was kicking in from the few rounds, and I know people saying he was rusty, but I don't think he was rusty, bro. He was just, yeah, it might have been a little bit of rust. It might have been a little bit of rust. I won't say I don't think he was rusty. I think he was a little bit of rust, but at the end of the day, he was getting hit too much, bro. If he fights Canelo again, he's gonna get fucking stopped. That's Murata. Murata hits hard, but doesn't hit nowhere near as hard as Canelo. So I picked Canelo to fucking, if he, that fight, who knows, might not even take place if Bivol beats fucking Canelo. So I have no idea. It was a good fight. I didn't pick anybody for that fight between Triple G and Murata. I said if we'll see how good Triple G is. If Triple G is as good as he is, he stops him. That's what I was thinking, but I didn't pick it. I didn't make a video off of that fight. I didn't care about Triple G because I've stopped watching Triple G. It's been a minute, but I watched this last fight just to see where he's at, and yeah, he kind of turned it up, but he was getting hit with simple shots, man. He was doing the same shit over and over again, from the beginning of the fight to the end where he stopped him, and just because of durability again and his power, it saved him from Murata. It saved him. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. This is the Gypsy. It's been well talking to you people. I'm out.